All right, I wanted to talk a little bit about an ongoing building situation that I think ultimately won't come to fruition. But there are the usual suspects trying to impose their ideas of Adventure Quest balance onto the at large player base that I think needs to be called to attention, especially if you as a player are not on the official forums. I think there's an opportunity to get on there. If you don't have an account, maybe try to get one and just voice your opinion. I will tell you that under the Adventure Quest Classic general discussion headers, um, the forums mod is basically becoming an autocrat and mandating um, no one speak about the charisma versus endurance portion of what they're trying to have done. Um, so they're using their and they're threatening uh, action taken. Um, they actually sent me a PM on the forums, basically giving me a warning that if I mention charisma versus endurance again, basically they're using their moderating authority to control the narrative and provide for his outcome. And it doesn't look good whenever a moderator takes a side and then they abuse their power to steer the debate. There are some other um, sub forums like game balance issues and stuff that have their own unique rules, but basically he's making rules up on the fly. So if you talk about the endurance versus charisma portion inside that specific thread, he's probably going to shit himself. But you can talk about it in the other one that was just made. But I think it would behoove everyone to voice their opinion, even if you don't agree with what I'm about to tell you, um, because I have a hunch that the vast majority of the players just want to have fun and they like their items. And this is going to affect many items, many premium items, many items that you spent your own money on will work differently, which is, I think, the biggest reason why I don't think that staff will actually go that route. They'd be pretty fucking stupid if they did. But basically, this stemmed from um, people are wanting to nerf charisma because the stat revamp did not put guests in a place that they personally wanted to. They wanted guest upkeep to cost a lot more. Staff was pretty aware of what they called the feels bad. Guests overall were nerfed, but if they actually put them in line with what people dogmatically and cult-like believe that they should be, then um, probably there'd be like a lot of backlash. So I think this is there's just ultimately an attempt to move on from that to find other ways. Um, so they're attempting to use and utilize the spellcaster lean and berserk nerfs, maybe more or less the spellcaster lean nerf to healing as a means to an end. In their head, like a good liberal always says, don't let a good crisis go to waste, or don't let an opportunity go to waste. So this is kind of the fucked up mindset. And so I think that basically, in a nutshell, they're trying to um, use the endurance stat to nerf the charisma stat. That's what this is really about. No matter what they tell you, no matter what you read, that's the agenda and that's the motivation behind it. So every player who likes to play as a Beastmaster, in terms of you use any pet or guest that heals any resource, hit points, MP, SP, whatever, They are going to try to make all healing scale with endurance. So basically, if you do not have endurance and you play a beast build, those healing, I think, will be cut in half right off the top. They want to make all healing in the game scale with endurance. They never cease to amaze me because they always push the envelope and go insane with their ideas. So not only that, there is some talk about disallowing lucky strikes on all heals. They are talking about capping, whether it's a hard cap or a soft cap to heals, like a soft cap, almost like the soft cap with damage on bosses, where there's a clawback. They're trying to also, they have a suggestion where they want to nerf total hit points from like the 5,900, 5,800, whatever was there at 250 endurance, all the way down to like 3,600 and change. They're not wrong in that endurance does provide sort of a superfluous amount of hit points that's really not needed. Those hit points are not even assumed. Endurance is not assumed for monster creation. But a lot of players like to train endurance. I think more players train endurance than they realize. I think the stat revamp paved the way because you're not forced in some people's mind to train dexterity. So if you're like to play as a pure mage or a pure warrior or whatever, before you would have to do like intelligence and dexterity or strength and dexterity, and then you would have to choose another stat. And so they may mix and match from there. Maybe they have 4 stats or 2 of them are not maxed out or whatever. But now you have 250 free stat points that a lot of players just decided to put it in endurance. So I think it's overblown that there's this idea that it's not desired. And I think it's more desired than they give credit for. However, I do think it probably could use a little bit of a redesign. Sorry about that. A little bit of a redesign. I think that the direction they're going is pretty drastic and wild. They even will admit that it's a pretty wild suggestion. Therefore, I don't really think that it has a shot. But they do not care about the effect to you as a player. They don't care that you might have spent money and bought an item, a golden gift box, an ultra rare, a package item. Maybe you actually spent money on Plush Mort on Hero Mart and those kinds of things. So basically, like for example, Plush Mort, for example, would remove charisma. So it would get half of its healing from its just base and random, and then the other half it would get from endurance instead. And so they're trying to find different ways to nerf charisma rather than finding ways to prop endurance. And so there's a lot of talking out of both sides of their mouth. Like, for example, they'll say that we want to make endurance required for healing. We want to make it the healing stat. But then they make ridiculous claims that guests are the domain of charisma, or that it's exclusive to charisma, when staff just changed guest BTH to get half of its BTH from main stat, and that also boosters exist. Backlash, I think one of the Backlash guests may scale with endurance, but I can't remember for sure. But ultimately, there are several examples of a guest not entirely scaling with charisma. I do think if this goes through, then I would propose that all guests only get BTH from charisma and only get their effects scaled from charisma, and basically disallow non-charisma players from even having access. I would prefer that not happen. I think these ideas limit design space, but I would request, if you'd be willing, to go online, express your opinion. I have a feeling that most of you will not like these ideas. You can read all about it. And some of you may fear the ganging up that they always do and the ad hominem that they always do. But this is for your gaming experience, so it's time to express how you feel. And even if you don't agree with me, go ahead and express how you feel. I think, honestly, staff needs a good representation of the player base and how they actually feel about different issues, which I think will help them make decisions. I just have a hunch that most people don't agree with these insane ideas. But that's it for this video. Thank you for listening. Again, please express your opinions on the forums. Thank you.